You're listening to Moments in Between, the podcast where we ditch the filters and get real with local entrepreneurs.
We're your hosts, Amanda Lombardo and Jeff Mondlock, part-time professionals,
but full-time curious, so pour yourself something strong.
Coffee or whiskey, no judgment.
And kick back and get ready for the unfiltered stories that might just change how you see things.
Or at least make you laugh.
Thank you for listening to Moments in Between. On today's episode, we have the lovely Tiffany Reeds here with us, and I'm so excited to finally meet you. We've spoken online a bunch of times. And Amanda talks about you nonstop and how you've changed her life. So I'm excited to actually get to know you and get to know a little bit about what you do and help our listeners understand it too. So tell us just a quick 30-second intro of yourself.
I am a psychic medium and energy worker practitioner, and my goal is to really help people feel more empowered and more in touch with their intuitive abilities and just realize that there's so much potential in life rather than just what's on the material surface.
I love that. I think a lot of people, when they hear about intuition or their intuitive nature, you don't know what to truly think with it, right? So we have friends who are very, very dive deep into it and kind of having their own awakening and understanding, and I want people to understand that they might be experiencing things in life that kind of are these signs of awakening. So it's kind of nice to have someone who's an expert on that here on the podcast with us. So I love that.
Thank you.
So that's kind of a quick bio about you. Tell us a little bit about a couple other things you'd like to really kind of talk about, I guess, on the episode here with us. Obviously, helping people along with their journey.
Yes, and I definitely think that it's important to kind of let other people know what intuition is, how to get in tune with their own psychic abilities. I really want to dive into this. I don't know really what to call it. I would say it's an idea that I have right now, but at the same time, I've done a little bit of experiments with it and everything, and I've talked about it with my clients, and it's something that I really want to work into writing about, and it's called the two-world feeling. And basically what this feeling is that it's when people end up receiving energy into their body before their mind has time to process it. And the thing is that can be a very scary feeling. And when we receive energy that we don't understand, and that turns into anxiety, it turns into panic, it turns into disassociation. That can be very, fight, flight, or freeze for a lot of people. And I just want people to, instead of doing any of that, sink deeper, listen, take time to pause, and to really be with your body, because your intuition is something that will guide you always in the right direction, just as your heart will. And if you don't follow it, if you have other people dismiss you, deny your reality, you will then feel so disconnected from it. And it'll be hard to move forward in difficult situations. And you might seek advice outside of yourself when the answer's within the whole time.
That's an incredible idea that people could be sitting on the answer this whole time, right? And we're all looking for that in some facet. So, I mean, how did you know that you had the gift, or at least the open enough heart to see what you're talking about right now? It's how do you get involved or what's your origin story, your superhero today?
So I would definitely say that it's been a lot, and I think it's ever evolving and ever changing. I've gone through really difficult, dark moments, as you know, too. And it's been challenging, to say the least, but I'm one of the people that I really, I walk the walk. This is my life. It's not just my job. It's not just a hobby. It's my life. I literally, everything that I give to my clients, everything that I give to my friends, my family, people that I care about and I love, I make sure that I'm doing it too. Because if I'm not doing it, then what good am I? You know what I mean? Then I feel like a fraud, But I make sure that I just walk that path. So I've been like when I was little, I was very sensitive. And the problem was is that I would shut my gifts down. And from the time that I was maybe 5, 6 years old, when I was in school and such, I would get these two-world feelings, and that something was wrong. And so I would get these feelings, and I wouldn't know how to really describe them to anybody or what to do with them. So what would happen is that I would end up going to the nurse, calling my mom. I want to go home. My mom just like, she doesn't want to go to school, this girl. And then there started to be a pattern where I would get these feelings. No, my chest hurts. My this. I feel out of breath. And then 3 hours later or the next day, somebody that we know would pass. And it was linked. And I was feeling their passings. I didn't understand that. So I'm here thinking like, what's wrong with me? Am I cursed? And since from a young age, I felt like I had a special message that I wanted to share with the world. And I really feel like now, after everything that I've been through, I am understanding more and more of what that message is. And I'm so grateful to just be aligned on this path to do that.
That's incredible. Like to have that that realization, number one, especially at a young age. My goodness,
Yeah.
I find any excuse I can to get out of school. I still would. I would never go back to school right now. But just to think as a kid, and then processing death in general is a
It's
really difficult thing, no matter what age you are. So, kudos to you to be able to have that self-awareness too, and
Thank
to move forward like that. That's incredible.
It wasn't always easy. It wasn't always easy because during my teenage years, like I suppressed it and closed it down. And it was just like, doctors said that they were panic attacks and that it was just anxiety. But the more and more that I shut it down, the more that it started to manifest in my external reality where, I was drawing in people and situations that weren't necessarily good for me, and then it manifested into a physical form where, I had a near-death experience. And that really caused things to kind of shake up in my life where I was like, oof, it's time to change. It's time to change the way that I'm living, the way that I'm doing things. And it was just a wake-up call. And when I had that wake-up call, that's when I met my first mentor down in Asbury Park, just sporadic. And she's the one that helped me click everything together. And she was like, oh, so you get this, you do this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you're a medium. And I'm like, I'm a what? You know what I mean? So it didn't make sense to me at the time. Because I was like, there's no way, like, you think of the people and you're like, oh, they're on the boardwalk, you know what I mean? I don't want to be doing that, you know what I mean? And it's just like, at the same time though, there's so much more to it than that. And it's really an honor and a privilege to be able to connect with spirit and to live out that. So, and it's no hate on the people on the boardwalk too, because they were very fun. I was like, they're very fun.
I'm down to slap $10 readings down anytime,
That's right.
That's so funny though, because there are people that probably don't realize the difference in intention, right?
Absolutely.
For where you're going for. And my old landlord, she was an incredibly intuitive person, and she said she has like 100% streak, I think, of like of guessing someone, not guessing, of knowing someone's gender of their baby before they come out and things like that. And she would call, like, we would be having a day, and she's a really good friend of ours too, but we'd be having a rough day or something, and even when we moved, and she would just call us and be like, something's telling me you guys are having a bad day. And I'm like, wow, I haven't even posted my tears on social media yet, so.
And that's where being connected to that two-world feeling. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe I should make a call. It's like when you ever think of someone in your head, and you're like, all of a sudden you're doing something, maybe you're folding laundry, it comes in like with the most mundane tasks, and then all of a sudden you get somebody in your head, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should reach out, and then they reach out to you. That's because that's that telepathic connection. You're literally tuning into their energy. They're feeling you. You're feeling them. So one of you reaches out.
That's incredible. That makes sense.
That happens to us often.
Yeah, I feel like we connect in that way a lot. But Amanda, you've actually had sessions with Tiffany, so I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts.
Yes. So I actually met her, how many years ago was it? I don't know. It was a few years ago.
It was a few years ago. I think it was 2023.
Yeah, I was going through some coaching, and JC actually said, I think this would be good for you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I guess I should try this. Like, I think I'm at a point in my life where I should talk to spirit. So I went in, and like right then and there, like she just, what's it called? You hit the nail on the coffin. I'm like, whoa, like can we get the tissues out? Like can we get situated? I don't even know your last name yet. Like, I don't know anything about you, and you know everything about me. Like it was the most connecting, beautiful. Oh, I don't know how to explain it. Like, how can you explain it? It was just
I think it was just
eye-opening.
Yeah, it was so healing because I feel like you were going in a little bit skeptical of like, what is this?
Yeah.
But it was just so opening, and I just remember we just connected.
Yeah.
It was just
Instant.
that was it, and it's so beautiful because it's like your dad has come through in Reiki sessions, and when I accidentally was like, oh, congratulations.
The engagement. The palm trees in Orlando. Like, how'd you know? I didn't get engaged yet.
She didn't get engaged yet.
Oh gosh, she broke the news to you.
And I was like, I was like, congratulations. And I was like, I'm seeing like palm trees, and she's like, I'm going to Disney World. And I was like, oh God, I hope I didn't spoil anything.
Oh
and then literally, because it was like your dad kept saying congratulations. And oh
With
my
the
God.
chocolate on my face. I always have chocolate on my face. Brian always says, clean your face.
It was so funny, and it was crazy. She literally, you messaged me on Instagram, and she sent me a picture, and she's like, it happened. And then I think there was something with a song too,
Yes.
where your dad mentioned a specific song, and then like she went home that night, and she like sent me a message and was like, look what just came on the radio.
How about
It wasn't
that?
even like Spotify, it was just on the radio, which I never listened to.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? However that engagement happened, I knew you were pushing for it to happen.
I guess it was.
So it's nice that you got the congratulations ahead of time.
Yes.
Your nails done. She was
Yes.
even like before the trip, I think probably because you told her, she's like, I wish you could just come to Florida. Because I'm a photographer. It's like just to get a photo in case I need it. I'm sure Brian was like, I don't know.
This is a lot all at once.
Why does she know this all happened? That's too funny.
I had an idea.
I remember about that. But yeah, so many people are always just like girls who want their other half to to propose to them. They're just like, just make it happen already. So you got a little insight. That's not fair. It's almost.
Yes. I had a question. How do you deal with like skepticism? You said I was a little skeptical. What about like other people?
I welcome skeptics. I think
That's cool.
it's cynics that are a little bit more difficult because I think that they just kind of shut down. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh no, nothing exists. Like we don't go anywhere. And it's just I don't believe that. And like even when you look into certain scientific studies and things like that, about paranormal realities and dimensions and such, I mean, there's just so much, and Albert Einstein himself said energy cannot be destroyed, only transferred. So it's like, where would we go? We are energy. Like everything in this room is energy. So I think that with skepticism, I leave it open. Like my job isn't to be like, I want you to believe in me and in the work that I do. It's I want you to believe in yourself and to believe in the ability to not only heal, but that there is something so much bigger. So there's so much more to life than just this. And I think that if people are open just to that, then boom, you have that opening right there to be able to help them see that, because there's a reason why they're coming to you. You know what I mean? And they're bound to have their own experience, whether it's in that session or even long after, and continuously have experiences because something in them is drawn to have that awakening. So I welcome it.
I love that.
So you welcomed it, but you also you have this as you're an entrepreneur too. So you have this as a business. So
Yes.
is it hard to create a business model around this? Was it kind of difficult? I know for me, I struggle pricing and things like that. Like that's the biggest thing for me. And like I talk myself out of sales. Everyone listening, don't listen to this part. Where I'm like, I'll be like, oh, like I'll give a price, and I'll be like, but I'll do half off or something like right away. And it must be hard too, especially when you have people who are skeptical. I have people who are skeptical because they think cell phones are the next cameraman, right?
They're
so,
not. They're not.
But like, what kind of goes through your mind as you're crafting this as a business?
It's definitely difficult because I feel that people can look at you in like one to two ways. They can think like that it's complete and utter BS, you know what I mean? Or like it's just some new age practice. Or you can have, just people think, well, how long could that last or whatever it may be. And I think that my biggest thing is that I make sure that I am aligned with God and my highest good, my highest self, and to help people, you know what I mean, with that. And I think that when you look at really successful people, they take risks and they believe in themselves. And there is investment, right? But at the same time, they build connection and relationships a lot of the times with their clients, with people that they network with, or whatever it may be. So my goal really is to just be. And I know that sounds so corny, but I mean, when someone, as you know, when someone books a session with me, it's like, yeah, you have this time set, but we typically go over, especially if the person has questions or if they feel like maybe something is just right there still and they need it to be pulled out, right? We focus on that, and I never want someone to walk away feeling like they're dismissed or that there's still more. And I always let them know, I'm like, listen, like you can email me, you can text me, because I think that building a relationship and building trust is important.
That's a great way to look at it. It is therapy.
It is therapy.
It's all mental health. The biggest push for what I do is like, obviously I do the branding side of things. I help people like express their brand and show their best self, but I also love the self-love aspect, right? So I do a whole other side of the business of like portraiture and have like self-love sessions and beauty portraits and things like that. And people just come in and they get to feel like a cover model, right? So that kind of goes hand in hand with it, and we'll definitely have things to talk about on ways we can work together,
Sounds good.
Now, a big question I have is, and I'm gonna sound ignorant, but I don't know what the hell Reiki is. Like I've seen, she doesn't explain. She's like, it just is, or I don't know what the hell you're saying. It's the best. It doesn't tell me what. Like I envision like, ooh, like, and I start floating and shit, or I don't know.
It's
so
not a float thing.
like, am I gonna float around, or what are we thinking?
Only if you want to.
If you can make that happen. We don't have to dive into the depths of how far back Reiki goes or anything, or the origin of it. I just want to understand what it looks like for someone to have a Reiki session.
Sure.
And if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
It looks like Reiki or Reiki or Reiki. That's what an old person would probably call it. Some Reikis.
I've heard reggae.
Reggae.
That's
reggae music. That would be my grandpa for sure. It's reggae stuff.
So having a Reiki session is personally tailored to everyone's unique, specific needs. So what my sessions look like might look different for another practitioner. But I would definitely say that it's to help promote more deeper relaxation, enhance and awaken your intuitive abilities and your own gifts to be able to really hear and connect to a part of your soul that you might have been dismissing. And when I say dismissing, I mean just even with other relationships that are around you and connected to you. Mediumship also comes through during my sessions. So if someone is processing grief, and grief is a lifelong process, as we know. So if there's still residual energy in, say, the heart chakra and it's backed up, maybe it's causing a blockage from their heart space to expand. Basically, a loved one can come through during that session, and we'll have a profound message for them to let them know too, whatever burdens and guilts, because typically that's what we unfortunately get left behind with when a loved one passes, is burdens and guilts. So it's healing that. It's everything in between, basically.
I love that. And there's no touching involved?
So that's completely optional. So I ask people in sessions, I'm like, do you want a hands-on session or do you want me to just hover? And most people are like, yeah, you can place your hands on me, to which, as you know, you will experience heat, tingles. I don't know how else you wanna, if you wanna describe that for the
Remember
people.
my throat choked when you were pregnant, and I'm like, why am I laying here and I'm coughing? What was I getting out? You were like, wow, you were.
Yeah, because there was a lot of things that she was repressing, and that's the thing. Like, people will cough, they'll burp, they'll fart, they'll, I've had people fall asleep, they'll laugh. Some people will feel the need to like make sounds, like grunts. It's completely normal. So it's the way of, as weird as this may sound, it's the body having like energetic orgasms to release the blockages that are happening. It's a form of release. So when people are like, I worked on this one woman recently, and she was having throat chakra issues, and I was telling her different exercises as I was moving the energy, right? And she said the next day, she goes, I don't know what you did, but my throat was so sore, as if like I literally had surgery on it. And then, but she found that it was clearing, and that all these messages that she was getting, and her dreams were more vivid. But that's what it does, is it helps remove blockages, remove wounds that we've kind of suppressed, repressed deep within our mental body, emotional body, that can eventually go into the physical.
No, I love that. It's the way I see it is it's breaking down barriers, right?
Yes,
So your
Healing
body
the
almost
barriers.
creates these barriers as things happen, whether it's trauma or death or anything really. And there's several tiers of trauma. There's we see all sorts of different trauma. It could be as simple as somebody's parent in the car saying, when you're like a kid and you're like, oh, I want to go to this, and your parent just says no.
Yeah.
So like all of a sudden that things get dismissed in your head and everyone's dismissing you.
That's
So Reiki has that ability to start at least making the awareness of the barriers, right? And then
Yes.
breaking them down in a way.
Yeah.
So, and I'm all for orgasms of energy. So I think we need to focus on that. No, the idea of release, that's a good selling model right there.
Yeah, and it's also too for physical ailments and pain as well, where I've had clients come in and I have seen cancer in people. I have seen there's headaches, that migraines specifically, that have a specific energy. When people have, it's really weird, I've gotten things down to people's blood work. And it's just, and that's part of being in touch, medically, with my medical intuitive side, and really being able to be like, hey, there's something wrong. Seeing fibroids in people, tumors, things like that. So that I definitely would say would be another specialty of mine.
So do people need to be with you to practice Reiki, or is this things they can do at home that you can teach?
To do energy work, you don't have to be attuned to Reiki. To practice Reiki per se, it's a whole attunement and certification process to be aligned in the energy. Because basically, when that attunement process happens, you kind of go through an energetic purge of getting rid of a lot of essentially wounding in your old life, and you're letting go. To integrate the newer, higher vibrational energy, coming through. So, but energy work, no, anyone can tap in, and I tell people all the time, meditation is key. It is your best friend, and that is going to be able to build up your energy body more and more, because you're going to be able to understand, oh, okay, what is it that I'm picking up? How are my sensations in my body feeling? You're going to start to receive a lot more when you stop and pause.
Also, for our listeners, can you explain if Reiki would help anxiety, trauma, depression, stuff like that?
Absolutely. So I definitely feel it helps all of those. And I think that it really depends on the openness and willingness of the person as well to heal. Because as healers, we are the bridge, right? We are the barrier between two worlds, essentially. And we all I'm doing is facilitating the space and allowing energy to move in and basically integrate into a person's field. but how quickly they begin to heal from that and how quickly it changes their life is all up to them and the work that they're willing to do. And I've seen people that do the work a little bit slower than some, and then there's some that are like, they take it so seriously, like it's their life. And everybody's different, but I can see that there's changes despite the fact of the difference. You know what I mean? There's gonna be changes.
Yeah. Is this something, are these kind of gifts and this ability to like work with energy like that, are these things that are hereditary? Because I know that people will say like, oh, this is generations of my family that's able to be awakened intuitively. Or is it just everybody have this ability and some people just focus on it more because they have family that did this? Or
I think it's the second one. Intuitively, we're all souls. We're all forms of energy. I believe that our energies can be different, and that would be like for a whole another, episode and going into that. But the thing is that I think that when you are raised in families where it's a little bit more open and accepted, then it can be easier to fluently dive into it and awaken, etc., etc. Now, I also do believe though that people that have a lot of sensitivity have gone through trauma as children, and when you go through anxiety and feel all that when you're a child and you're looking to kind of feel safe, I think that your abilities and your awareness kind of goes up, because you have to think about it like when we think of like when something's like getting preyed on, right? When you're an animal and like you have to kind of know your survival techniques, I would definitely say that it's like we go into that response of, okay, am I gonna pick this up on? You know what I mean? Like is somebody gonna walk into the house and yell at me right now, or whatever it may be. So, and then I also think that then you have the opposite side where you have people that it comes easy to them also because their parents just supported it and they were like, yeah, like this is what you feel. I mean, my dad's side is very much into this. My grandfather on my dad's side was known as like an exorcist in Portugal, where he would like take the evil out of people. And then my great aunt, so it would be my grandfather's sister, would do healing work and healing for people in Portugal. And then my dad's, so my great uncle, so it would be my grandfather's brother, he ended up like my dad said like see spirit like in physical form, like how I'm seeing you, and could be like, oh, excuse me, you know what I mean? And he had that ability. So I think that it naturally like went in, you know what I mean? And my dad would always say like if a spirit comes to you, ask what it wants and things like that. It was never like shut down. I think that just experiences growing up and just being a girl can kind of shut it down. You know what I mean? Because other kids can be mean.
Yeah.
So it's just like you kind of shut down. Yeah.
Can you also explain, like, from your standpoint, like how when people come home after seeing you, like how they feel after mediumship and Reiki? Because I know you check in.
I do.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting because I think that it depends. Some people will feel really tired, but it's always like, I had this weird thing happen and like I saw this out of the corner of my eye, or like there's an experience to it. So I think that that's what's really fascinating is especially with mediumship, they will get like a sign from their loved ones, whether it be music, whether it be seeing an orb flash, or even a visitation dream. Really, really profound experiences. Now with energy healing and Reiki, I would definitely say like I've had people that, they wake up the next morning and they're like, I was having this hip problem for 3 years and I don't have it anymore. You know what I mean? It's something that's so incredible that it can just be like, you can have an ailment, but then when you get to the issue, the rooted issue of what that body part is trying to tell you and why it came about, it's just like all of a sudden it can either clear out, or it can be a process where it's just peeling back the layers of that to the point where you get to where it's cleared.
I feel like when you think about people's like mental health in general, like your anxiety can cause a lot of issues with your body, right?
Absolutely.
You can heal a lot of things just by easing your own anxiety. So if you have anything that is an energy relief to that, is it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if it was a little hip pain that you can't obviously fix if someone broke their hip, but if there's something, the pain that they're feeling, mainly because they're tense about a smaller pain, it helps, So it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, like hips is lack of support, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if someone's experiencing hip pain on their left side only, it could be perhaps a relationship that could have been either something that they had in the past. It could be related to how they are able to receive their connection to feminine energy. There's a bunch of different things that can come up, but I've learned to kind of tune into a person's body and ask, like, why is there pain here, or why is there stagnancy, or whatever it may be. And each body part, the body will always tell you. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you don't need to go to a healer, to be told, but it makes it easier to have that bridge if you don't feel that, you can connect with it at that moment in time. Because, I mean, listen, I go to people too, you know what I mean? Because I think that sometimes when we are in this fog, and everybody goes through a fog in their life, you need extra support, you need an extra hand, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and you, like you said, you go to people too, and
that's right.
And that a big part of our like Amanda and I's background is entrepreneurial spirit, right? So, I think of like how you had a mentor, and so that's the same type of mentality for any kind of business owner, right? Mm-hmm. They should have that kind of mentorship. And then do you mentor people as well?
I do, and I love it. And I do it in different forms, where it's anything from helping them with their emotional health and traumas like that, or it can be even to help them incorporate their own spiritual business or their own gifts and abilities, because I think it's so important. Even if you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be a psychic and have a business or anything like that, or a healer, there's ways that you can incorporate and be intuitive and utilize it in your own form of business.
Yeah. Well, I love that.
That's a good point. Can you explain the difference between psychic and mediumship?
Sure. So this is what I was told and what I was kind of raised by, is every medium is psychic, but not every psychic is a medium. Now, that's a very old belief. Mm-hmm. As I said, I believe that we all are souls, we all are energy, and I think that if you are dedicated to put your time into communicating with spirit, then you can connect. I will say though, what it feels like energetically is that when I get downloads or information that's connected to more mediumship, mm-hmm. it comes through in the back of my head, top of the head. So crown, back of the head. Psychic information is very third eye, very in front of me. So the best way to kind of remember that is mediums receive, mm-hmm. psychics perceive.
Wow.
I feel knowledgeable. I feel like I learned something right there big time. No, that's and the chakras thing, like I remember learning about it in high school. We had a class about just other religions, right? And so is that kind of like a main focus to you, or do you consider yourself religious, or do you consider yourself just spiritual, or where do you kind of lay in that world?
That's a great question, because I feel like that's a question that a lot of my clients, sometimes they feel blocked in that sense. So I consider myself spiritual, although I like to piece and take what resonates from each and every religion. Now, I believe in God. I believe that there is a oneness, a consciousness that is greater and connects us all. And I think that we're all a piece of that, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is that, it's like that saying that's like Jesus wasn't a Christian and Buddhist wasn't, and Buddha wasn't a Buddhist, and all of these things. So it's just like their main message was to help people connect, forgive, and to love, and to ascend in that way. That living through the heart and diving into that deeper consciousness, right, is how you're going to evolve and progress on your soul's journey. It's about building connection that's not just surface level, but really heart-to-heart connection, and hearing people in a way that you don't even have to say anything for me to know how you're feeling and connect with you. right? And give you what it is that you're seeking, what it is that you need, or maybe even just show you what it is. So that's why feeling it and bringing in all of those abilities together, you know, it's very different and it's very unique. And I don't know, I would definitely say like if they come in randomly, like if, for example, I will smell people. I know it sounds really weird, but I'll get a whiff of someone, like either their cologne or a place. When I used to smell my mentor, when she would reach out, I used to smell the beach because she was down at the beach.
Wow.
And then this happened recently. I was gonna go. I wanted to get a tattoo for my birthday, and I was like so set, and I was like, I want this tattoo, and I had reached out to my old artist, and he was like, you know, somebody picked up, and they were like, oh, he's busy. He's like booked out until March, and I was like, okay. I was like, thank you. I was like, I guess it's not meant to be. On my birthday, I was sitting in the car with my husband, and we're just sitting down, and I'm like, and he's looking at me because he knows I'm getting something. And then I'm like, I smell my tattoo artist. Now, mind you, I haven't like seen him in over 10 years, but I smell the tattoo shop and like just the certain equipment. And I was like, I smell my tattoo artist. And I was like, that's so weird. And I was like, he's gonna reach out. He's gonna reach out. Call me the next day with an opening.
That
The
is
chills.
wild.
So that's what I'm saying. It can come in different forms. Like your psychic abilities can come in where you're having profound dreams. It can be visions, like just a flash of something. You can hear stuff, whether it be internal, or it can be auditory outside where you hear someone call your name and there's nobody around. It can be smells, tastes, feelings, knowings. There's so many different ways. So it's just about tuning into which ability you resonate with more. And for me, it's clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairvoyance, and clairsentience, I would say, are my strongest points. But we all have all of them. I have all of them, as they're just utilized in whatever way I guess spirit wanted them to be utilized. Because instead of getting the download of being like, oh, I smelt it, because spirit just thought that was a way that I would definitely know. So that was it was so interesting.
So interesting.
It's amazing that our senses have the ability to touch that energy, right? So I guess
Yeah.
it's just being aware of your senses is a very deep thing. You say touch, smell, probably taste for some people.
Yes,
right? So,
yeah.
that's incredible. You brought up a couple times a near-death experience. Is
Yes.
that something you're comfortable talking about, or if not, don't worry about it?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to try to get through it without like getting emotional. I've talked about it on other podcasts before, but to make a long story short, I was on depression and anxiety medication, and I was trying to get off of them because I felt like this wasn't the way. I was really tired of living the way that I was living, and I just felt like it was just repressing me more and more. And so I was trying to get off of them and everything, and then my body started to have seizures. And it got to the point where I ended up in the hospital, and it was around Christmas time in 2015. And it was really eye-opening, to say the least, because it was just like I was having seizures. The doctor had that conversation with my parents where like her brain wouldn't stop having seizures. Like it was just, I had so many MRIs and VEEGs and things like that, and where I remember the guy having a conversation saying, you know, like she's having them especially in her sleep, and this is how people pass. And just kind of giving my parents like that warning. And it was a very scary, dark time in my life. And so, now I'm gonna get emotional. So working through that, I was like, you know what, I need to change, and I want to focus on being more healthy. And like I had changed up my diet, and I was like, I just don't feel like, my mentor at the time was like, I don't feel that it's permanent. I was like, I don't feel that it's permanent either. Like nobody in my family has a seizure disorder, all that. And so basically that year it was 2016 in June, Ended up being where I had a seizure. They brought me in, and the doctor did a brain scan because he was like, "Oh, we're gonna have to up your medication, things like that." And he did a brain scan, and the brain scan came back, and me and my mom are thinking we're gonna get the worst news, and because he comes in and he's just like, "I can't believe it," and my mom's like, "What?" And he was like, "Look at your brain," and he did show the scan of my brain in December versus my brain in June, and it was as if my brain completely healed. He goes, "There's no sign that you even ever had a seizure."
Wow.
And mind you, I hadn't had a seizure like that night that I was going in. But, and he was like, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing. We'll start to wean you off the medication." And they decided that I didn't need seizure medication and all that. And I just felt like, I was like, you know what? If doing right for your body and acknowledging the difficult parts of your life, right, and working through them, I was like, God gave me a chance. Now I want to do this work, and I want to share this work with other people. So I've been through a lot, especially in the past year of 2024, which was another dark period. And it wasn't a near-death experience until I guess you get to my childbirth experience, but I almost lost my life having my baby. And but that year in general was just very difficult. And I don't want to get too much into it, but to make a long story short, me and my husband found my sister-in-law murdered outside the house. And it, to this day, is so difficult. But at the same time, I know that there's so much gift in moving forward. And I know that this is kind of just a brief message of kind of like taking a look. And, you know, I even had this conversation beforehand with him. So she's been coming to me. And she came to me 3 days after she passed. And I got that two-world feeling. And in that two-world feeling, and you know, my husband knows when that happens to give me a pen and paper because I tune in. And I kept seeing the number 5 and the 5th of the month. And she took me through her passing. And I wrote everything down. And it was crazy because when we got all the documents, not only he was charged, right? He was charged February 5th. And he was caught 5 days after he murdered her. So she was showing me. And she's been coming to me a lot lately and had recently come to me that she wants the narrative and perspective to change around the passing. She doesn't want to be seen as this poor innocent girl. She wants this situation to let her legacy live on about trust your intuition, trust your divine guidance. When something feels off and someone dismisses you, trust it. Then you go to the next source. You don't stop until you are fully heard. And that's the thing. She is coming through so strongly. So we have something that we kind of want to work up together with letting her voice be heard. And I think that just bringing this up, I'm glad that it kind of naturally tied in, is that during that dark period, when it's supposed to be such a happy moment when you find out that you're pregnant, because I found out I was pregnant like a month after. And when you find these things out and go through this darkness, but actually go through it, and you don't suppress it, and you talk about it, and you feel it, you can rise to the other side. And I'll tell you, one of my clients had said to me, she came in and she goes, "It must be so easy for you to be happy all the time and so spiritual, because life just seems like a breeze. You're having a baby, you got engaged." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm telling you the things that I'm telling you because I know what it's like to go through a great deal of darkness." And I shared with her everything I was going through that year. And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This makes my problems look minuscule." And I'm like, "It's not about that though. It's about the fact that I want you to see that when you walk the walk and when you do the work and you really listen to your intuition and when you believe in God and when you believe in a higher power, that you're always supported. Good things will come." right? Your vibration will raise in ways that you could have never imagined.
How has she come through recently?
So she
Like visuals or something else?
it's very visual, but it's also loud, and it's in the sense of like I can hear her, like hear her voice, and to the point where it's like she'll even throw signs in there of like, you know, she was really attached to, because she's very spiritual, to Nikola Tesla's 369 method. So like, you know, me and my husband will go somewhere and it's like 369. She comes through in dreams. She even like, you know, and there's no shame in this because I go to a therapist clearly, and my therapist is wonderful. And my therapist had recently actually told me today, before I came, she's like, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but you know, I feel that, you know, she's coming to me and she's saying like she wants her voice to be heard. I didn't tell her anything that Mary has been coming to me or anything like that. And I was like, that's validation. So when I had called my husband afterwards, I was like, we have to do something, because she said it the day of the court date was on Tuesday. And you don't have to add all this detail in if you don't want to.
I keep hearing her name pop up a lot actually, and I think you told me that you're related, but this is, yeah, I just saw everything pop up about the court dates again the other day. So.
Yeah. So I actually did, and like everyone was asking me if I wanted to go, and I chose not to go because I was feeling like I have the text even. I was like, I texted my husband and I was like, I just feel like I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna go, because I was like, I feel like it's gonna get rescheduled. Something's telling me that this is not gonna be the official date, and I was like, and I just feel like we kind of have to pull back a little bit, and so it was rescheduled, and to a different date, a later date, and basically, to make a long story short, I was like, but I want to sit with this energy. And I told him that I was going to do a reading. So I dedicated time during that day before my session to just do a reading. And it was like I felt her just come and sit there. And it was like I could hear her so clearly. And literally just the messages. And she even had brought up things that she had conversations with her brother that they never spoke about to anybody. So it was just like, that was validation too. So it was just, she's been coming through in so many ways, because she doesn't want to just fade into a memory of the girl that was murdered in Somerville. She wants other women, and young girls especially, to trust their voice and to trust their feelings. And if you know something's wrong, say it, speak out, don't be afraid. You know, it's really important to be heard.
She was such a big pillar of many communities, from what I understood, and
especially the addiction community.
Yeah, I watched several of these documentaries that were made about her and her brother, right?
Yeah, Brute, the Brute documentary.
Yeah, and it's incredible. She seemed like the incredibly powerful person, so I'm not surprised that she's punching through and then found an easy route.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He said to me, he goes, well, you know how she was. She was very pushy until she got what she wanted. And it just was so interesting, because even in the therapy session, something weird had happened with my therapist TV, and she goes, I don't know why that just happened. She's like, this is weird. And she was getting emotional, and she was getting goosebumps, and she was having responses, and she was like, I just don't feel, and my therapist doesn't talk to me like that, you know what I mean? But I knew it was Mary being like, you heard me, you're hearing me now, I gotta go through another source to get you to leave, like, come on.
Listen, damn it.
Exactly. So I really feel like there's a call for that, because I really, like her brother had told me, you know, she really wanted to focus on younger kids, right? And having an outlet for them to feel safe. So the fact that her passing is tied into that, and then also just the safety of other young women and kids, and to feel like it's okay to open up, you know what I mean? Because that was her biggest thing, was she definitely was more hesitant on being fully, you know what I mean, open about what was happening, because but her intuition was telling her, especially towards, like, she was showing me that, especially closer that she got to her passing, that her intuition, like her psychic abilities, were amping up to the max.
They're seeing, they're feeling.
And she even said, like, and that was the thing that she came through, was that she felt like a big shift was going to happen, but she thought it was going to be more career based, not in the way that it happened. But her brother said that she did voice that to him, that she felt that a big shift was coming. So that's the thing. There's all of these validations, but it still can be that, because I really want her memory, you know what I mean, to be a legacy and not just a memory, like she said.
And you could tell she really is a hell of a power still.
Yes.
Everybody, like the community, absolutely adored her, and they still talk about her everywhere you go. So I love that, actually.
Oh, okay,
you know,
good.
it's such an incredible tie, and I didn't even think about it. I forgot that you told me that back when it happened. So first off, thank you so much for telling us these stories about your near-death experience. I know how hard it is to rehash old or tough times in life, and for telling us about Mary and that as well. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk that through. I hope you're okay and feeling okay right now after.
Let me tell you, it was very, very dark after that day happened, when we had found her. But I will say that when she came through in spirit and it was her vibrant self, I didn't feel as bad as I felt in that way. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like, I'm like, wait, you're not gone. Right? And it's just like, sometimes even we need that reminder, because it's so easy to connect with like other people's loved ones and stuff like that. And when you're connecting with someone that you knew, it can be like, is this me making it up or what is it? But the fact that even that night that she came through with the evidence that was brought forward, you know, the 5 days, the 5th of the month, things like that. She even had stories and personal things that she had shared with her brother in secrecy. So to have that vocalized, right, I thought was so profound. And I'm like, and mind you too, there was another person that she was close to. It's in the community of Not an Easy Fix, which she was a part of. And she came to the founder of Not an Easy Fix, his mother, and she saw her that same night. And she was like, and she was fine, and she was like literally jumping up and down, and she wasn't phased at all. And that's the thing, like the way that she showed me is that this situation is like, she wants everybody to hold on to the light instead of focusing on such darkness, right?
Seemed like that was her thing, you know,
Yeah.
that she was very much about seeing a different side of darkness.
Yes.
I mean, with the addiction community, like you said, it's incredible. I know when I die, I want to come back and knock the shit out of you.
Not me.
I'm just gonna be pushing you off of stuff, just bothering you. No, I like to
If I
think
hear
that-
about something.
I'll be just steering you all different directions of wrong. No, I think that that's incredible, and I think it's beautiful to see how someone can still live on too.
Absolutely.
That's the hardest thing with death, no matter what you believe, right? It's
Yeah.
the idea that there's still there's clear connections,
Well, I think because we're so used to everything being so physical in this realm.
tangible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it can be hard when you feel like you don't have that anymore.
How do you feel like you protect your own energy?
Several ways. It's really different every day. I really try to do something right before I like get out of the shower, like after I turn the water off, and I just kind of say like an invocation and a prayer over my energy body, as well as I do it to my family and for other people, and it's really just a practice. It's a ritual that I constantly do and have. And then if I'm feeling like I need a little bit more extra protection, I do, like I'll wear crystals, or I will, really just focus in on like pulling my energy, like my aura and stuff closer to my body, and kind of shutting certain energy centers that I know are quite vulnerable to other people. I'll shut those down. But other than that, I think that, when you are able to kind of take in that energy and transmute it into light, into positive energy. And when even like, I think the most powerful practice, and I think you guys should even try it, is that whenever you're feeling like if there's any like psychic attacks or negative energy towards you, instead ask that energy be transmuted into whatever you want it to be, whether it's joy, abundance of goodness, love, and then ask. The key here is to then ask that that person receives blessings too, to lead them back to you. That's what I say, to lead them back to you, Lord.
I love that.
I like that.
You know, when I lived in the South, when I lived in Tennessee for a while, blessings are very, very derogatory the way they used them.
Really?
Yeah, and so I like looking at it like you're saying, rather than if you let's say someone came over and I thought very little of them, and they said something that I thought was stupid, I could just say, "Bless your heart."
Really?
Like basically, you're a fucking idiot.
Oh my god. That's
You know,
so
bless
cool.
you, like bless you because you are really doomed in life.
So it's like kind of like offensive,
Yeah,
like bless
like
you.
that's a much better way to think you're
I like
blessing,
that.
rather than bless. If someone says bless your heart and you're below the Mason-Dixon line, then you have to think about it a little different. But that's beautiful, you know. And I think we've taken up a good amount of your time today. So
Aw, it's
again,
a pleasure.
thank you so much.
Thank
And we
you.
could sit and talk with you.
I know, for hours.
and hours about this. And again, thank you. We appreciate you sharing
Thank
what you
you.
shared, and I'm excited to re-listen to this all and and learn and have further conversations with you. You
Me
know.
too.
Where can someone book a session if they wanted to?
So they can book a session on my website, so that's innerworkingsofthesoul.com, or even if they reach out to me at Tiffany Reeds on Instagram, they can just, if they have any questions too, or they can email me. My email is on my website as well, but innerworkingsofthesoul.com is the best way.
All right. So we have 3 questions that we roll through at the end of each episode.
Okay.
One of them is very important. The first one, do you prefer cats or dogs?
I think I'm a dog girl.
Me too. I'm a dog girl
We should
too.
start taking
A tally.
Yes,
yeah.
a
I think we're
tally.
gonna see what
It's
everyone
hard though, because I feel like cats have their own energy. And listen, like
They do.
I'm allergic to cats more than I am to dogs, but I love them both. So
You know, I
Allergic
love
to
dogs.
cats.
Usually my dog is with me. I thought about bringing her. Next question, Amanda, you can ask.
What is something you're currently unlearning?
unlearning.
Mm-hmm.
Probably negative self-talk. I would say I'm my biggest critic, and I think that I'm always trying to be like, how can I do more? How can I do better? Did I do a good enough job for Spirit today? Things like that. So I would definitely say I'm unlearning that and really listening to the parts of myself that are like, no, trust yourself more. No, this feels good. So everything that I preach, I'm doing myself.
You gotta listen to this podcast.
That's right.
It's recorded, you know,
We
it
had
might
the
help
same
you out.
thing going last podcast. That's like exactly how me and Jeff
Yeah.
were feeling too. Which
We're
is
very
interesting.
self-negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we just be self-negative.
It might
I'm
be
gonna
easier.
start. It'll be very. A lot
Just
of
have an
listeners.
episode.
Just to really tell you how bad life is. No. I think that's a big thing we're all unlearning, right? It's so easy.
It
And we
is.
gotta stop doing what's easy.
Well, it's because negative energy is like infectious. It spreads a lot easier on this plane than higher vibrational frequencies, than love. So we just have to be mindful of that. So, and sometimes too, when you get these thoughts, they're not always your own. They could be residual energy. It could be something that you picked up from the grocery store, as cheesy as that sounds. It's very interesting the way that energy works. So, yeah.
That's why I don't go to Walmart.
I get everything
Jim
delivered.
is there. I get things delivered from Walmart.
Oh my god.
Right. And then the last thing would be, what is your one takeaway for people to listen, or for people who are listening? A takeaway about your business or what you do, or just something for them that you want to make sure.
Trust yourself. Follow your heart and really tune in, because you are your greatest gift, your best friend. And when you tune into yourself and you allow your voice to really shine for you, it'll guide you to wherever you need to go.
I think we needed that today.
Yeah, I really did.
Oh.
The imposter syndrome was hitting lately, so this whole thing is really nice. So thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.